Record. There we go. Awesome. Hey, I'm Jeff Wilkins. Again, this is the seminar on idolatry, and I'm glad you guys are here. Yesterday, what did we do? We basically asked one question, and that question was, why do we do the things we do? And we looked at the Bible's answer to that question, which is our hearts. We do what we do because of what's in our hearts. You and I were created worshipers. And so what we worship, according to Jesus, according to the Bible, is what directs what we think, we say, and we do. That's what we looked at yesterday. Today, I'm operating with a particular assumption, and that assumption is this: that you have concluded with me that idolatry is not a great thing. That you would like to actually change. Does the Bible offer us any hope that there is change? Absolutely. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to begin to think about how do you go about changing. And we're going to do that. This is just the first part. So this isn't the whole answer today. But the first thing that we need to think about is, how do you identify, how do you unearth idols in your life? Because we all have them. I want to start with an illustration, a story from my life. I mentioned yesterday, I think, that I can't hear out of my right ear. But I've not always not been able to hear out of my right ear. In fact, I could hear out of my right ear perfectly well until I was about 27, 28 years old. In the summer of 1991, I was a seminary student at Westminster Theological Seminary in Philadelphia, and some student friends of mine and I decided that we were going to go to the Jersey Shore for the weekend. So we went to the Jersey Shore, we swam, we did the boardwalk, we did all the stuff that you do at the Jersey Shore, and then we came back and started our studies. Well, it wasn't a week or two after that trip to the shore that my right ear sort of closed up. And what it felt like was, it felt like I had swimmer's ear. You know, like, I felt like I had like this liquid in my ear, and when I sort of tipped my head, you would feel that liquid kind of go back and forth. You ever had swimmer's ear? It's a drag. So what did I do? Well, I went to the pharmacy and I bought a swimmer's ear kit. Now, if you've ever seen a swimmer's ear kit, you know that it comes with two things. It comes with this big rubber bulb, and it comes with these like chemical drops. And what you do is you put the drops in your ear and you lay there for 10 or 15 minutes, and then that's supposed to sort of soften the wax. And then you take this bulb, you fill it full of sort of warm water, you lean your head over the sink, and you sort of wash your ear out. And it's supposed to clear out any sort of waxy type stuff that might be the reason why you have swimmer's ear. So I go to the drugstore, I buy a swimmer's ear kit, I go home, I lay down on the couch, my wife puts a few drops of this solution in my ear, and I lay there for 15 minutes. When 15 minutes is up, I walk to the bathroom, I lean over the sink, my wife takes this bulb, fills it full of warm water, shoves it in my ear ever so gently, and she begins to sort of wash my ear out. What I expected was, after she sort of washed my ear out, I would look in the sink and I would see this big gob of just bleh. She washes, I look, nothing. So she fills up the syringe, or the bulb again, she shoves it back in my ear, and she washes a little harder. I look, nothing. She washes again, nothing. She washes again, nothing. That afternoon, nothing happened. So what do? I think, well, it must have been the swimmer's ear kit, right? So I walk back to the drugstore the next day and I buy a different brand, because that's got to be what the problem is. And I go home and I go through the same procedure. Drops, wash, 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 nothing. Second thing you might need to know is that my mother is a nurse. And somewhere along the line, I was talking with my mother, and I told her I had swimmer's ear. And what that meant was from that moment on, every time I talked to my mother, she asked me the question, how's your ear? And I would say, oh, nothing's really changed. I'll take care of that in the future. Well, the summer ends and the fall begins. Classes begin. My swimmer's ear goes on the back burner. And I go to school. That's what you do when you're in seminary. You go to class. Don't really think much about it. Every time I talk to my mom, how's your ear? Oh, nothing's really changed. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take care of that next summer. Well, a year goes by, and I'm so dumb. I talk to my mom, and my mom says, how's your ear? And I say, oh, it's the same. Nothing's changed. And she says, something's going to change. I've made you an appointment with an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and you're going to go see him. Now, I'm like 28 years old, and the lesson of this little example is obey your mother. Even as a 28-year-old guy, you obey your mother. So I very dutifully go see this ear, nose, and throat guy. I walk into his office. I sit down. He gets out that little whatever you call it, starts looking in my ear, looking in my ear, looking in my ear, and he goes, dude, I'm sure he didn't say dude, but he says, sir, you have a terrible ear infection in your right ear. Cool. Awesome. So he prescribes me these horse pills that are very expensive, and I know they're very expensive because I didn't have insurance, so I had to pay for them out of my own pocket, and it cost some serious jack. But I took these pills for 3 weeks, and after 3 weeks, I went back to see the doctor. I went back to see the doctor because nothing had seemed to change. So this doctor looks at my ear, and he says, the infection is gone. But you still have swimmer's ear? I said, yeah. So he decides we need to do some tests. So he puts me in this room where they put like headphones on, and they play beeps, and you're supposed to raise your hand when you hear something and all that kind of stuff. And we go through all of these tests, and he's left scratching his head. He's like, I have no idea what's going on. He says, so he ordered a CAT scan, which means they shove you in this tube and take pictures of your head for like 30 minutes. It's really not all that fun. It's pretty loud, even with a clogged up ear. And I get this CAT scan. Go home, because it takes time for that stuff to develop and whatever. About a week later, I get a phone call from the doctor's office. But here's the thing, it's not a nurse. It's the doctor. Now, I don't know if you've ever gotten a phone call after you've had work done at the doctor's office, but it is always a nurse. The nurse always calls you with the results. Hey, your test came back negative, you're fine. I pick up the phone, it's the doctor. Red flag. The doctor says, Jeff, I have good news and bad news. You don't have swimmer's ear. Awesome. What do I have? You have a tumor in your middle ear that is growing. It's wrapped around 3 of your nerves that run through your face. Now, if you were 65 years old, this is what my doctor says. He says, this is a very slow-growing tumor. If you were 65 years old, we wouldn't do anything. You would be dead long before this tumor would ever do anything to you. But since you're 28 years old, we need to do something. Because if we leave this tumor untreated, it's going to grow. And over time, it's going to sever these 3 nerves in your face. And what that's going to mean is you're going to lose control of the muscles in half of your face. You potentially might not be able to speak, and you won't